Look at that. Isn't it awesome? Do you know what that is? It's the Haunted Mansion, and this is the last night of the Haunted Mansion for 2015. Not because it's going anywhere, but because it's getting the Haunted Mansion holiday overlay soon, and this is the last night it's open in its normal form, and this is also the Sometimes Vlog. Yeah. It's around happens sometimes. Ha 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 ha. It's a vlog that happens sometimes, and sometimes it happens right here on the stoop at the Haunted Mansion. Isn't that awesome? It just looks so cool. I just want to keep looking at that and never go anywhere else. Welcome everybody to the Sometimes vlog. And yesterday, Tyler and I sat on the porch of the city, meaning a curb somewhere in Old Town Orange, and talked for about 45 to 50 minutes about pretty much nothing. Now it's just you and I together here on the porch of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Summer is winding down, but it's still time to go film crazy random land adventures and have wild adventures. And tonight is my last night riding the Haunted Mansion, as is the 2015 before the Haunted Mansion overlay. And it would be anyways, even if there was a couple days before the overlay, because I'm going on a little bit of a road trip, as usual, going out of town. The rubber's gonna hit the road, but I'll be around, of course, on the Sometimes vlog. I never leave you, but every time I'm gonna leave, even if it's just for like a day or so, even if I'm just going a couple hours away, I always have to come and soak in a little bit of Disneyland before I leave. Because why not? Why wouldn't you? Well, sorry about that. So anyway, I'm just wandering around here at night, and all day I've just been thinking to myself about different stuff. You guys ever get bummed out for no reason? Like, especially if you know something good is coming or something good just happened. There's sort of those peaks and valleys in your life, and you just sort of get bummed out for no reason. I'm not talking about like crazy depressed, but just sort of down and bummed out. Lately I've been down and bummed out. Things have been getting to me. Things have been getting to me at an abnormal rate. I'm normally very positive. And by the way, before any of you think I'm bald, I'm not bald. I did get a haircut today. It's not my favorite haircut. It's not my least favorite haircut, but it's a haircut. I could not stand the shag carpet that was growing and festering on my neck all this time. No, things have been kind of bugging me lately. I don't know whether it's just that I'm oversensitive lately, or just that I've been a little stressed out or under the weather, which that is true. I've been gluten poisoned quite a lot lately. I haven't been as careful. I haven't been at home as much. Carefully handcrafting all my own food. But yeah, just sort of just on a downer note lately. So for obvious reasons, some less obvious reasons, but things have been getting to me. But of course, I'm on the quest for positivity. If you guys are unfamiliar with the quest for positivity, if you've only joined in the last few months on the Sometimes vlog, and you haven't been here for a year, because it's been about a year now of the quest for positivity. It's basically this: you can't control what happens to you all the time. You can't. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Mostly, you can't control. I just want to look at the Haunted Mansion a lot, so I'm just going to keep pointing the camera at things, just so you know. You can't ever always control what happens to you. You can't control what other people do. You can't control what other people say. And even if you can control those things, you certainly can't control what they think, can you? However, you can control, to an extent, your reaction to those things. So the quest for positivity is this: negative things are going to happen. Fact of life, not to be cynical. Negative things are going to happen. And usually we all react in this kind of cynical way, where you get down, we think life is bad. But instead of thinking life is bad, instead of getting the poor me's, which everyone has for a moment, you're going to get frustrated at times. You're going to get poor me about things sometimes. But the most important thing to do is to choose to rise above it and stay as positive as you can despite the circumstances. Now the reason is manyfold, but just to simplify, because we've done this a lot, so you can go back in this channel and see some other Quest for Positivity videos. But the reason is manyfold, and one of the primary reasons being that, yeah, being positive in and of itself won't change circumstance. Let's say somebody's got cancer and it's really sad. Being positive is not going to necessarily change the fact of the cancer, but it's going to make you think clear. It's going to make everybody around you think clear. Everybody's going to be in a bigger mood. Or let's say you're really stressed out because you might lose your job. Well, you can take it out on other people You can be angry at everything around you, and you can be really upset about what you can't control, or you can realize you can control your reaction to the situation. Try and look at all the bright sides, calm down, be as positive as you can, and you're going to relax, you're going to make better decisions, and hopefully maybe you'll see new opportunities you wouldn't have seen if you were so negative. There's a lot of benefits to being positive. I feel like most of them are self-evident. And I lose my temper and my patience just as much as anybody. But that's what I'm talking about. The quest for positivity. I went through a really crazy, hardcore, breakup. I went through all kinds of super horrible depression, anxiety. I went through all kinds of crazy stuff. Some struggles ongoing and some that are over or on their way of being over. All kinds of crazy things have happened to me in my life. But at the end of the crazy things happening and I was trying to be as positive as possible during them, or the crazy things happened and I totally let myself go and became a total monster about it, it's always when I was positive about it that things ended up a lot better. You can kick and you can scream in life when something happens that you don't like. But all that's going to happen is that you wasted a lot of your energy kicking and screaming against things that aren't going to change. And I have 4 fingers pointing back at me when I'm talking about this, because lately, like I said, oh, look at Club 33 up there. I want its delicious food. Lately, things have been bugging me. I've seen just a lot of things and a lot of people around me being really sarcastic and nasty to each other. I've seen people that I know and respect even that are rude and callous and negative, and I'm trying to think, just a lot of different examples of it. Just people who are just really disappointing to see the way that they treat people in their lives, or the way that they react to certain situations. I never like to preach at anybody, and I never like to say, "Hey, you're really screwing up," person, unless they're a really close friend of yours. That's really none of your business to call somebody out on something or anything. It's their life. They can live the way they want to. You follow your star. You let other people follow their star. It's not up to you to guide people. People have to really guide themselves. You can only state your opinion and hope, if it's asked for, and hope that it's helpful. But you can't make people do anything. Anyway, the point is, I've just seen so many people being so negative around me, and it's starting to get to me and make me kind of upset and negative. I don't know why, but I've been just a little down, a little bummed out. There's nothing wrong with it, because I think it's pretty much natural. I think it's look at that duck landing over there. I don't trust you, duck. One time I was walking right here and a duck landed on my head and just couldn't balance. It just went off. I was like, what is that? Crazy. There was a lot of screaming involved, but just for the record, I looked really manly while I was screaming and being terrified of the duck landing on my head, just so you know. So anyway, yeah, I've been a little down in the mouth, but only slightly. Here comes the Mark Twain. Look how beautiful. And seeing people be negative and sarcastic to each other. Here's the biggest thing that's been bugging me, and I've seen this with a whole lot of people, some that I really respect too, and it's really hard for me to watch this. One thing just really grinds my gears and bugs me and gets me down is when people are cruel. We all have this impulse in us, and the people who say they don't have it are lying. We all have an impulse to be cruel. It's part of human nature. It's a flaw that we all have. Either when we get mad, or we get bitter, or we get grumpy, every single one of us has the impulse to be cruel, right? There's a reason why crazy people shake babies and people kick dogs and stuff like that. Horrible things. But every single one of us has that impulse to a greater or lesser degree, right? We're all human, and we all have failings, and impatience and bad temper is one of those things. Hopefully, as children, we were raised the right way to that we don't act on all of our selfish, nasty impulses, and we have sort of, refined ourselves by the time we're large enough to do any damage, so that we don't act like that. And one thing, so none of us, hopefully, none of us are going around kicking puppies or shaking babies or doing anything horrible like that. However, there is something that I do notice that people do that's almost as cruel, but we just sort of laugh it off, and that is to say something cruel or nasty to somebody because you're filled with bitterness, because your day didn't go well, or because you looked at someone and thought, ugh, just hate their ugly face. You ever have siblings when you're a kid? I've asked a million people this question, and almost all of them admit to this. Some of them don't, though. We're just gonna have a chat. Hello. That's my go-to hello voice. Why is that? Hello. Why can't I just say hello like a normal person? Anyway, when you have a sibling, especially if they're close to you in age, and you have to sit across from the breakfast table with them every morning, and you get up and you're just grumpy. I don't know, maybe girls don't do this, but they probably do. And your sibling's sitting across the table from you eating their cereal, and you're eating your cereal, and you're grumpy. It's the morning time, and you have to see them every day. And you know, siblings fight. You're just looking at them. You just get, I don't want to see your ugly face. And you move the cereal box in front of their face. You know what I'm talking about? So you just have to see it. Just like, ugh. I just hate you right now for no good reason. I love you later. I just hate you right now. I don't even know where I was going with that. This is what bugs me, is that people come and they'll have that thing where they just, having a bad day or something's wrong, they just snap, they take it out on the people. And they'll say something horrible and rude and mean and awful. Oh, you're looking a little fat today, or it could be flippant, it could be calculated, it doesn't matter. Something cruel and nasty, you know, oh wow, yeah, really nice, blah, blah, blah. There's always a little voice and a tone to it. It's something gnarly, nasty, something that's calculated to hurt feelings. And this is the part that bothers me. It's not just that. It's bad enough, you know? Hurting people's feelings isn't nice. I don't care. You'll hear a lot of people who are like, that's life, toughen up. It doesn't have to be life. Did it have to be life? You know, did Jim Crow have to be life, or slavery, or anything else that was bad in the world? No, and I don't know, it's not comparable to that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying that we don't have to accept bad things. We can change them, maybe even if it's person by person. We can't change the world, but we can change ourselves in the way we behave. And I got 4 fingers pointing back at me when I say all of this stuff, because I do this too. But here's the worst part. They'll say the nasty, feelings hurting thing, and then they'll say, whatever, I was just kidding. Well, whatever, I was just kidding. Don't be so touchy, just kidding. Right? But it's not the jokes. I know a little bit about jokes, especially bad ones. But jokes are usually supposed to be funny, aren't they? Not just cruel. Oh, looking a little fat today. And you say, hey, that really hurts my feelings. That's terrible. Oh, I'm just kidding. Whatever. You know I love you. You know you're my friend. Oh, I'm just kidding. No, I don't like that at all. Well, this is just a small example. I'm talking about I've been seeing people around me doing a lot worse. This is something I really don't like. And I'm not talking about sincerely trying to be funny. You can sincerely try to be funny and accidentally hurt somebody's feelings. Actually, you know, when you joke around as much as I do, you're bound to hurt somebody's feelings almost all the time, right? And that's fine. I'm not talking about you accidentally hurt somebody's feelings. I'm talking about, you know, when you said something to people because you were in a bad mood and, go, blah, blah, and then you try to get out of it because you know instantly, like, oh man, that was too far. Like, I hurt their feelings. So you go, oh, I was just kidding, man. Oh, I'm sorry, just kidding. Oh, get over it, just kidding. I feel like that's really mean. Instead of just apologizing, oh, you know what, you're right, I shouldn't have been rude. You just say, oh, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Does that bother you guys too? It really bums me out when I see people being cruel and then finding excuses for it. Well, you need to learn. Well, I'm just kidding. Well, you know, whatever. Especially when it's just unwarranted. Kindness is just better than, this is my core beliefs, that kindness is better than cruelty, love is better than hate, and forgiveness, when possible, is better than revenge. Now, the caveat to that when possible, is really no caveat at all, because forgiveness is almost always possible. And you can forgive, by the way, and not forget. Forgiveness is a good thing. It's for yourself more than even for the other people. And I see a lot of people that do forgive cruelty around them in their lives on a near constant basis, but I just don't like that. It's been bugging me lately. I find it in a lot of my relationships with people that they'll say something gnarly to me, like, oh yeah, you know, some rude thing, and then they'll immediately go, oh, I was just kidding, man, I didn't know your feelings were gonna get hurt about it. Not knowing, it doesn't mean that you didn't hurt somebody's feelings. Not trying to, now I hurt people's feelings by accident. And I, like everybody else, have been embarrassed and tried to cover up my own embarrassment. Oh, I was just kidding, man, you know? And sometimes I actually was just kidding, so I'll just be trying to explain, oh man, but I always start with, whenever I remember it or whenever I can, so I almost always start with, oh man, I'm really sorry. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. You know, I really just meant this, and I thought it would be funny. I didn't know that was going to hurt your feelings. You know, you don't need to have an argument with somebody over whether or not it's valid that it hurts their feelings. I always try to respect the feelings of others when I can, and you know, to say I'm sorry. We're talking about this on Periscope the other night with a lot of people, and it really bothers me when I see somebody hurt somebody's feelings. Doesn't matter what they did. you hurt a person's feelings in your life that you value. You really love this person, or you respect them. They're your friend, or they're your coworker, they're your son, they're your daughter, they're your grandma, they're your uncle, sister, cousin, brother, and you hurt them. You do something, you didn't even know you did something. Let's say you didn't even know you did something. You, I don't know, you use their favorite Kleenex. I have no idea. You hurt somebody's feelings, they go, dude, that really hurt my feelings. Almost everybody I know's first reaction, especially the closer you are to someone. The weirdest thing is, I know a lot of people who are more polite to people they are less close to, because you kind of feel like you can get away with being rude and you just, you don't have to worry about it with people you're close to. Let's take stock and be really careful about how we treat the people we profess to love in our lives, because let me tell you from firsthand hardcore experience, anything can change at any moment. Your bae, your best bae tomorrow could just not even care about you. Your mother, your father could be dead and gone, or the next day, say your best friend could get hit by a bus. I'm not trying to be negative, just roll with it here. Anything can change at any time. You get in a fight with your brother, your sister, or your mother, your father, your son or your daughter, you can never talk to them again. This has happened in my family where there's actually been a weird fight and one of my family members will not talk to, not my immediate family, but you know, my extended family, and they'll not talk to each other again for years. So don't take the people in your life for granted, and don't treat them badly if you can help it. Please don't. Seriously. If anything I've ever said has any value to you at all, it's that. Don't ask yourself how you are being treated, right? Ask not what you can do for you. Don't ask yourself how they're treating you. Ask yourself how you treated the people close to you in your life today. How did you treat them? How did you make them feel? Yeah, that's it. Don't ask yourself how other people made you feel. Ask yourself how you made the people close to you feel today. You know? So anyway, we've all done the thing. We've hurt somebody's feelings by accident. Almost everybody I know, especially the closer the person is to them, reacts with this. They react with anger, almost. You know, they react with, like, oh, come on, blah, blah, you know I love you, or I wouldn't tell you that, or blah, whatever it is. Or they'll get mad. They'll get mad. Well, I didn't know it was going to hurt your feelings. Well, I didn't know, blah, blah. Well, it's not like I did that. Or they'll argue over the legitimacy of it. You know, well, you're like, hey, you spent all your time with Timmy yesterday, and you were supposed to spend it with me. Well, I didn't know. Timmy invited me, and you didn't want to hang out with me, whatever it is. Whatever it is, when you hurt somebody, I feel like it should be self-evident, but it isn't always. I feel like the best policy would just be to acknowledge that the person's feelings are hurt and treat that as if it were valid, right? Like I said, I deal a lot with strangers now. I'm mostly dealing with people who are close to me, because this is the stuff that's been bugging me. And I can't help but share some of the stuff that's been bugging me and some of the thoughts that are in my head with you guys. But I deal a lot with strangers. And I put videos out into the world, and I have discussions like this with some of you that I've never met before, or I've met once or twice, and I don't know that well, and sometimes they don't know me all that well, even haven't watched that many videos or whatever it is. And so almost, not on a daily basis, but almost on a weekly basis for sure, there's somebody who takes something kind of the wrong way, they'll get their feelings hurt, or there are people who drift in and they're looking for a reason to be offended, or they're just having a bad day and they find something to be offended about with me. There are people who actually, not only one, but there are people who have just said, like, you know, they've taken something I've said at some point out of context and, you know, said, made this or this blanket statement about what kind of person I am, and I'm like, that's not me at all. And none of the people that are close to me or know me would say that I was, you know, like that I was a mean person or whatever it is that they're upset about, but they'll twist something and take it out of context. I'm not talking about that. You can't please everybody. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to put your own feelings last and always worry about the politically correct way to treat everybody, because what if somebody gets upset? And anytime anyone gets upset, that must always supersede, you know, your own feelings. No, not necessarily. There's a valid place for arguing with people. There's a valid place for back and forth. But I do feel like it is a human failing overall that when the people around us get offended by our actions, and I mean truly offended, like you really hurt their feelings, this is someone that trusts you and loves you, it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you didn't call them back fast enough, or maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe you left their favorite food out, you didn't close it up, whatever it is, you hurt somebody's feelings. where you said, you know, oh man, you know, all those pants don't look like they fit you anymore, whatever it is, and they were really self-conscious about their weight, and you didn't mean it that way at all, you just were just making an observation by accident, you hit on a raw nerve and they get upset. I feel like most of us, what we do is we go, oh come on man, I know you're gonna get upset. Well, think about you when your feelings get hurt that way. Oh, you hear that? That's Disneyland closing. Think about that when your feelings get hurt that way, and somebody treats you with that weird anger, like, ooh, whatever, because they get embarrassed, so they act angry. It doesn't feel good, does it? You don't feel like you're being heard. You don't feel like you're being listened to. So, I'm not talking about comments on the internet. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people in your life. I really feel like, and I could be wrong, because I don't know much about the afterlife or the universe or the way it works. I've never been to outer space and I've never been to the afterlife. So I don't know how it all works in the grand scheme of things. Maybe there's a, you know, I have my own theories, but I don't know how it all works for sure. I can't tell you from experience why things are the way they are. But I feel like, honestly, the better you treat people around you, the better that you will get treated, or, you know, and if that's not always the case, because there are plenty of people who treat everyone around them who are angels, just angels on earth, treat everybody around them great, and they get abused and stepped on and treated like garbage all the time. On purpose, or not on purpose, whatever it is. There are plenty of people who never get their just desserts, right? Good or bad. But I feel like it still matters. I feel like it still makes a huge difference how we treat people. It's part of the quest for positivity. You try and treat as many people as the best way that you can, right? That's part of my philosophy. And I really, really try to do that. Even when I'm miserable and I'm just kind of down in the dumps and I'm just kind of depressed and I just want to sit around at home, I'll try and, you know, do for myself. I'm just saying for myself. When there's nobody even around me, I'll try and do Instagrams, or I'll try and do Snapchats, or I'll try and do something, or somebody says they want to meet me and I'll try and meet up with them, or do something that I can do to make the people around me a little bit happier if I can. I'm not always the greatest person at it, and I'm not important or anything like that. I'm just saying my own personal life, or if I know my friends are going through a hard time, you know, I'll try and say something nice to them or encouraging to them, or call somebody back. Hello. Just hanging out in the empty Disneyland, running into strangers. Woo! This is a nightly thing for me. Look at this. This is where the quest for positivity started, actually, in a closed nighttime fantasy fair like this. I forget where I was now, but you guys understand where I'm going with it, I'm sure. And this has been quite a long, just you and me talking quest for positivity thing, but I'm going to be on a trip. I don't know, I'm going to get to a sometimes vlog tomorrow. Maybe not. But I'll definitely be back in the next 24 to 48 hours with more sometimes vlogs. Super long one yesterday. This is kind of getting running lengthy too. So I might give it a little bit of a breather to let you guys catch up with the vlogs. I feel like it's really important. I feel like the way that we treat people is important, even if the results, the payoff, isn't obvious or immediate, or isn't immediately obvious. Even if the payoff isn't immediately obvious, I feel like it's somehow essentially important the way that we treat other people, especially the people that it would be the easiest to just take for granted. So your mother, your father, your uncle, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your son or your daughter, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your best friend, you know, the people that are close to you, your close co-workers, you know, the people in your life who matter the most. I just feel like it's definitely true that sometimes we take them for granted. We treat them a lot worse than we mean to treat them because we think it doesn't matter. We'll make up for it later. It's fine. They'll get over it or whatever. And you know what? To be honest with you, speaking from some pretty bad experiences in my life, sometimes there isn't a chance for people to get over it. Sometimes there isn't a chance to make amends or make up. And I want to be very clear that I'm not, a lot of people, when you start talking about stuff like this, you know, with your friends or on a Periscope or in a vlog, a lot of people chime in, leave comments. And I've done this too, where you're thinking in your head, yeah, I can totally think of people who don't treat me right. Isn't that funny? Hey, hello. Isn't it funny how our first instinct is to think of the people who don't treat us right? I'm entirely talking about the way that we treat other people. But I know some of your minds are running to, yeah, I know what you mean. There's this person who doesn't treat me very good at all, and they totally take me for granted. Listen, I have been taken for granted a lot, I'm sure. Well, probably not. I'm really not that valuable of a person. But, you know, we get taken for granted a lot. People will treat us badly. We can't control that. You can't control that. You can't look at another person, no matter what your expectations of them are, and no matter how short they fall, you can't look at them and think, you owe me. Nobody owes any of us anything, unless they signed a contract. Then I guess they do kind of owe us. No one owes us anything but your parents, because they made you, and you know, whoever you believe your creator to be, maybe, I don't know. But really, in the end, at the end of the day, nobody owes us anything. We have to take responsibility for our own happiness, and especially if your mind is running to, well, this and this person said this and this, yeah, they treated me wrong. Stop and think, shouldn't you be that much better then and hold yourself to that much higher of a standard before you get upset? Because I've been getting upset a lot about the way people treat me lately. But what that's done is made me stop and start to think, well, how do I treat people? Do I take people seriously when I hurt their feelings? Most of the time I do. But there are some people that are close to me that I realize, you know what? I'm probably taking them for granted, and I probably shouldn't. Probably take stock. Here's the challenge for today. Take stock of who's around you, who's close to you, that you think, have I treated this person? Think of all the closest people to you. Start in the closest circle and work your way outwards until you think of somebody that you maybe treated wrong. And maybe that you treat wrong on a regular basis, you take, you know, for granted. And then you don't have to say anything to them. Try and, you know, make up for it. Say something positive. If you've been negative to somebody, be positive to them. If you've been hurting someone's feelings, or, you know, taking out your aggression on them, or whatever it is, like maybe say it's your spouse. Let's say you're a lady and you're married to a man. Let's just say, for an example, and he's been coming home every day from work, and you've been busy baking cakes all day. I don't know, this is just a for instance. It doesn't matter if it's a stereotype or not. We're not dealing with that. Well, let's just say well, fine, you were working with steel all day long, and your husband comes home, and every day that he's been coming home, you're thinking, I've been working with steel all day, Jose, and you're treating Jose pretty badly. Maybe do something nice for old Jose, or vice versa, or, you know, you've just been taking it out on your little sister all day, kicking her in the shins or whatnot. Maybe do something nice, like buy her shin guards, or, you know, if you've been particularly controlling of other people around you, maybe let go. Let them do what they want for a change. If you've been hogging the remote all week, maybe let Dad have the remote, or whatever it is. Take stock of the people around you, close to you. Be really honest and ask yourself, have I been the best me I can be? And if you haven't, I feel like we all fall short of that pretty much all the time. If you haven't, just redouble your efforts. Sometimes it's hard. Trust me, it's hard, and some days you're just gonna fail, and some days you're gonna have to just give in to the failure. You know, get it out of your system. Try and do something, try and do it in the least damaging way to other people as possible when you're on the warpath. But when you're done being on the warpath, when you come back to yourself, try and be positive. Just try and be positive. All right, I don't know what the heck all this has been about, other than I love you guys. I want to share some of my thoughts with you. I'm leaving Disneyland just for a couple days, going on a little trip, no big deal, some filming stuff, some pretty cool stuff I'm very excited about. I'm sure you'll be there with me. Periscope, Twitter, Justin Scard, Instagram, Live Fast Die Poor. Make sure to follow me on social networks. This week is the week to go and download Instagram, for example, or whatever it is, because it just is. It's the week. What is this? Almost September. It's almost September. You don't want to miss out on summer happenings, and it's almost over. So anyway, going off on some more adventures, bringing you guys with me though, and I gotta go home, do a lot of laundry, pack up. Look at the people, they want to look, they want to see what's going on. Packing up, getting ready to go. So, we'll see you guys soon. But just by watching this vlog, and by taking stock, and being positive, you've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well. Live Fast Die Poor. .spreadshirt.com, patreon.com/Justin Scard, Twitter Justin Scard, Instagram Live Fast Die Poor. Goodbye.